I'm from Indiana, but I'm a Red Sox fan.
And I'm from Minnesota, but I'm a Yankees fan.
And welcome to the rivalry out of state, our Red Sox versus Yankees series here on Running the Table. And we have another series to recap as just as the first half comes to a close, the Red Sox and Yankees did battle in the Bronx. And let's just say one team did really, really well and the other did not. One of us is happy about how the series went and the other isn't. But Andrew, you ready to run it?
Yeah, let's run it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things for you to talk about and not a lot for me to talk about. But before we get into all that, I'm going to quickly recap the 3-game set. Um, there's a lot, so let's get into it. The first game, the Red Sox took that one in 11 innings, 5-4, where it started with Nathan Eovaldi making his return to the mound against Jordan Montgomery. Eovaldi, he looked all right going 4 1/3. Velocity was down, but he'll figure that out. His first start back from injury. It was a tight game, 3-3 in the fourth, as Christian Vasquez hit a solo home run and Bobby Dahlbeck hit a solo home run off Aroldis Chapman in the top of the seventh to break that tie. But in the bottom of the ninth, Tanner Houck got himself into a little bit of a sticky situation as he allowed the tying run to score on a throwing error. Gleyber Torres bunted the ball right back at him and trying to get the play at third. Tanner Houck chucked it up the left field line, allowed the tying run to score, but the bases were loaded and he escaped out of that jam. And then he somehow did it again in the 10th. So that was 2 bases loaded jams he got out of. And then in the top of the 11th with Michael King on, Xander Bogaerts taking his lead off a third. King spikes a slider off of Jose Trevino's mask. Ball goes wild and Xander Bogaerts slides in to score the go-ahead run. And then Ryan Brazier locks it down, gave Red Sox Nation a gigantic heart attack, but got the save there. Now we're on to game 2, where the good feelings end for Red Sox Nation as they woke up the sleeping giant and the Yankees bats exploded for 14 runs in that 14-1 drubbing. In the top of the first, Rafael Devers hit a solo home run to start the game. We all thought, hey, here we go again. And then the Yankees said, not this time, as they roughed up Nick Pivetta for 7 earned runs in his 4 1/3 innings pitched, and then got to the rest of the Red Sox bullpen, putting up 14 runs in total. Matt Carpenter had himself a day with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs, a pair of 3-run blasts, and then a walk to drive in the 7th run. And Aaron Judge had 2 dingers of his own to give himself a major league leading 33 home runs before the All-Star break, which is absolutely astronomical.
Phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. Absolutely inspirational what Aaron Judge is doing. We'll see what the Yankees do with his contract situation, but that's a topic for a later day. But now let's go to the third game where the Red Sox were looking to, just right the ship, and the Yankees were looking to do more of the same. And one line drive off of Chris Sale's pinky finger later, the Red Sox are forced to use a bullpen game. And this is a perfect example of why we don't do that, as the Yankees killed us again, 13-2. Yikes. Every arm not named Austin Davis in the Red Sox bullpen got an inning to throw. Some, like Tanner Houck and Garrett Whitlock, went pretty well. Others, like Jake Diekman and Ryan Brazier, did not go so well. So essentially the theme of this series was the Yankees absolutely destroying the Red Sox in every way possible. And for the Yankees, they want to continue this run, but the All-Star break is here, and thank goodness for that. So, Andrew, what do we got for this series?
All right. So before I talk about the amazingness that was the last 2 games of the series, I want to go back and talk a little bit about Friday. So understanding the situation that both teams were in back then, I'd say both the Yankees and Red Sox were doing pretty cold. The Yankees lost a series to the Reds at home 2-1. And the Red Sox got swept in a 4-game series versus the Rays. So both teams were looking into this game saying, all right, which one of us is going to come out on top? We got to prove that we're the better ones. And it
And
looked
they just
like
got to
we
not
both
overthink it,
don't overthink it.
because
Oh,
that's an
yeah,
important.
clearly.
You can't overthink it.
Clearly you can't. But it seemed like in game one, it was whoever wanted to lose less. It's a very sloppy game on both ends of the ball, besides Devers and Stanton, really, with their home runs. Um, Putting in Chapman in the seventh wasn't the brightest idea by Boone, in my opinion, as he gave up a home run to Bobby Dahlbeck instantly. But that's besides the point. Our offense simply did not contribute enough to win that game. The Yankees were like 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position. I think the Red Sox were pretty similar to
Yeah,
that as
not
well.
great, not great on
That's why I
either end.
feel like that game was whoever wanted to lose less, and the
Mhm.
Red Sox won that battle. But I think we got over those troubles the next two games, to say the least.
Yeah,
Matt
sure
Carpenter
did.
had a
Yeah,
masterclass of a
sure did.
performance. Two
Ugh.
home runs, 7 RBIs. It really doesn't get better than that. Oh, and by the way, he broke a record that Mickey Mantle had.
Mhm.
Most home runs within your first 30 games as a Yankee. Matt Carpenter, it's his record now. It's insane.
Yeah,
13 home
Aaron
runs in
Judge broke
30
that other
games.
record that day, or at least tied it. Either tied it or broke it for most home runs in the first half of the season by a Yankee, with
Yeah, that
Roger
sounds right.
Maris. So Carpenter
Dang.
and Judge put themselves in elite company on Saturday. That's for sure.
I
But
also want to talk about Jameson Tyone on Saturday. We both went into this game thinking this is going to be an absolute shootout. We got our two worst starters going on the mound today, Tyone and Pivetta. And it was true for one of the teams, but Tyone, he actually did really well. Besides giving up that solo shot in the top first, we thought it was going to be another disaster class by him, but he locked it down after that. I think not allowing a single base runner for the rest of his entire start. And Tyone was like that at the beginning of the season. He was pretty good, but he really slumped starting in June. But it's good to see him turn around like that, and I hope we can see more of that from the rest of the season.
yeah,
And
Jamison
then,
Tyone, he looked really, really good in that start with 6 innings, only 2 hits, um, 5 strikeouts, no walks. It For as poorly as Jamison Tyone had pitched in his last 4 or 5 starts, I'm sure Yankees fans really enjoyed seeing Tyone turn it around and pitch like that. Really get more of the April, May Tyone back.
yeah, that's for sure. That's an understatement. I was very happy to see him perform that way. And then moving on to Sunday, Garrett Cole did his Garrett Cole stuff. 7 innings, 12 strikeouts, and only giving up 2 runs, which, of course, just because this is the rivalry, was Jeter Downs' first career home run against Garrett Cole at Yankee Stadium. That's just how it goes.
Figures.
But Garrett
Figures.
Cole, another phenomenal performance by him. He's really been amazing this season.
Yeah, remember when we made that "What's Wrong with Garrett Cole" video?
You know, that's all we needed to do to turn
I
him
really wish
around.
we hadn't, in hindsight.
Well, it is what it is.
Well, he
But
stopped
it seems like
overthinking
his
it and then he
last
figured
three
it
or
out.
it seems like his last so many starts though, he's given us 7 innings and very minimal runs given up. It's really awesome to see him come back. Because I
It's kind of
mean,
what you need to
there was
do.
that there was that era where it seemed like the sticky stuff was contributing to him not pitching as well, but
No, he's
he's
fine.
over that. He's
He's
been
fine.
amazing this season.
Oh boy. And
Now, how would you like to react to all these games?
oh my gosh. The first game was really good. I think we showed great fight in the ninth and the 10th, especially escaping those bases loaded jams. I don't know how Tanner Houck did it. Garrett Whitlock looked really good for the 2 innings that he pitched. 2 clean innings with 3 strikeouts and a hold. So he is a breath of fresh air, and I can't wait to see him more in the second half of the season, whether it's in a setup role or a multi-inning relief role or a closer role. Just thank goodness he's back in the bullpen, and hopefully he'll stay there because that's where he's most effective. But where do I begin? Like, you talk about a disaster class. Oh my God. When you get beat by your rival 27-3 in the last 2 games, nobody looked like they wanted to be there at all. Pivetta looked awful. Sale got injured, more on that later, and the offense decided to take a nap and fall asleep after in the first inning, 2 hits. It was the Devers solo homer, and then Xander Bogaerts had a base hit. Then the next hit came against Brian Weber in the eighth or the ninth,
Something
as
like that.
Kevin Plawecki is in a pinch hit roll and he knocks a base hit into the outfield. They only had 3 hits against Jamison Tyone and Ryan Weber. And then in the third game, Chris Sale taking a line drive off of the bat of Aaron Hicks to his pinky on his throwing hand. So now that would be a fracture. You saw the pictures of, his finger bending the other way. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, probably, maybe longer, which means after being hurt for the majority of the season and making a second start back, he's down for most of the second half, which for a guy like Chris Sale and for the Red Sox, who needed pitching badly, you just hate to see it. You hate to see it for Sale, who he's been working back from Tommy John, and then he had that setback with his ribs, and now this. You got to imagine how frustrating that is for him. And for a already depleted Red Sox pitching staff, yes, we got Evaldi back. Yes, we got Whitlock back, but we're in no better a situation than we were entering the series. We're really not,
Yeah,
because
that's very unfortunate.
Waka got hurt, Pavetta's pitching horribly, and now Sale is back on the IL. So, and now you got Winkowski and Siebold that are out. Who are we going to turn to start games?
Yeah, I
Probably Garrett Whitlock, which sucks because we need him in the back end of the bullpen, and I cannot stress that enough. But I don't know.
well, yeah, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about Garrett Whitlock into like what's next, because I just want to know what your opinion is on Whitlock, because we're approaching the trade deadline and looking at the Red Sox record right now, you guys absolutely could be buyers. So do you put Whitlock in the starter role, have him be one of your stars, and then go for a
No,
reliever at the deadline,
no,
or do you
no,
put
no,
him in the
no.
bullpen and get a starter?
No. I think we get one of each. I really do, because with how injured we are at starter, the starter depth will be crucial. So you go get another starter, and then you go get either a closer or a setup man, if that's fine. If you want to roll with Houck or Whitlock in the ninth, just get one more dependable arm in the back end of the bullpen. But the Red Sox have to make some changes in the second half fast, because the way they're playing right now is not going to cut it. And especially how stacked the AL East is, and the fact the Red Sox can't beat AL East opponents. 0-11-1 in series against division opponents in the first half. If they keep playing like this, they're not going to make the playoffs. The margin for error is too little. There's not enough time left. We're about 92 games in, so there's not enough time to play catch-up ball and beat up on opponents outside the division if you're going to keep laying eggs and dropping games to your opponents in division, especially considering come September and October and in the playoffs, you are going to see 3 AL East teams, maybe 4 if the Red Sox can keep it up. But then here come the Mariners, who are on a blazing 14-game win streak and have already rocketed up into that second wild card spot. So as far as the Red Sox go, changes need to be made fast. The offense can't lay eggs like this. The pitching staff has to get healthier, has to be better. And yeah, if we keep playing like
Yeah.
this, we're going to be sitting at home in October, and this team is too talented, too good to be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned 0-11-1 in series or in division rival series. That's simply unacceptable. I mean, with the teams that are in the AL East, you cannot be losing series if you want a chance at the postseason. And another question to ask about how the Red Sox are doing in July. You look at how good they were doing from late May through the month of June. Do you think they got a little bit too comfortable, because they had some pretty easy teams in that stretch? And now you had the Yankees twice, you had the 4-game series with the Rays. Do you think the Sox got a little bit too comfortable with their hot streak?
Complacency can be a killer when it comes to baseball, because granted, you have to ride the ebbs and flows of the season and you try to ride out the hot streak as long as you can, but you don't try to ride out that hot streak by getting comfortable and thinking that you can do the same thing over and over again and that it's going to work, because eventually you're going to hit the brick wall, and the Red Sox have hit the brick wall where they've lost 8 of their last 10 to end the first half. You know, somebody has said multiple times on this series not to overthink it.
Are the Red Sox overthinking it?
I think they maybe overthought it a little bit. They maybe overthought it a little bit, that they could just do what they've been doing and that it'll work against a team like the Yankees, or even going back to that series against the Rays, because the Rays are a scrappy team and they will find a way to win baseball games and they will find a way to beat you. This Red Sox team, granted, is talented. However, we can't just tiptoe into a street fight and expect we're going to land that knockout blow every time, because the Yankees in that second and third game just hit us in the mouth and we couldn't get back up. So we were in for a rude awakening. And if things don't change fast, it's going to be a long rest of the season.
Yeah, that's for sure. As the schedule really doesn't get any easier after the All-Star break as well.
But thank God for the All-Star break, because maybe this will be.
You need that with the bullpen. How many guys you put out there yesterday?
Well, it was the last of the 3 games. We have 3 days off, so you might as well get everybody some work. And that's the key reason why the Red Sox don't do bullpen games, because we have very little quality bullpen to speak of anyway. So yeah, it's just not a good time. But the Red Sox need to rethink some things, go back to the drawing board, get it together, and let's have a good second half. And meanwhile, the Yankees are sailing safely in the black. It's who do we get at the deadline to make the evil empire more evil and more powerful, so we can just run over the rest of the league.
Players coming out. We'll see.
Yeah, and we will definitely do reactions at the trade deadline when that goes through, because both of our teams are sure to be very, very active. But Andrew, you got anything else?
No, I don't think I got anything else. Great series by the Yankees. Great way to end the first half of the season and keep it up after the All-Star break. That's all I got.
Yep. It's really not much for you to say. Is don't overthink it. Keep the train rolling.
Overthink it, so we won.
Yep, that's how that works. But that'll do it for our recap. The next series that we have will be in mid-August, so we'll recap that series when it concludes. But we'll have stuff for the trade deadline, and we have a lot more baseball stuff and just other sports stuff in general here on Running the Table. So if you like what we do, go check out our other stuff. But until next time, don't overthink it. We out.